Oh, hey guys, it's Greg Narayan here, and this is a tutorial on how to move blogs from Blogger to WordPress. But before we get started, we're going to need to do some packing and some planning. Because for most bloggers, like me 2 years ago, this is probably the hardest thing that you've ever done. So I've set up this tutorial to make sure that we bring all of your blog content, your SEO, and your rankings in Google. And we can't forget your social statistics. Your blog transfer, your migration is going to be done with care and precision, because this is something that's actually very near and dear to my heart. I was in your shoes 2 years ago, moving my pride and joy blog from blogspot to WordPress, self-hosted, wordpress.org. It was over 100 posts. The blog was something I wanted to do for a living, and there was a lot of stress involved, so I'm really fortunate that I figured it out and made it work. And we'll look at that in a second. But I just wanted to let you know that I have been in your shoes. Alright, so here we are on Blogger, in my Blogger dashboard, and I have 5 Blogger blogs. Okay, I want to look at the one that I moved, though, just to show you how that works. And this one's called Honest College. Honest College has 353 posts and almost 500 comments and some pretty decent traffic. So let's see what happens when we view blog. Alright, so keep in mind that this was moved from Blogspot to WordPress. And keep your focus up here in the URL bar. Alright, you saw that Blogspot really quickly, and now the redirection goes through, and so it redirects from Blogger to WordPress, and this is the WordPress blog. Alright, so I want to make a few points before we actually move a real blog from Blogspot to WordPress. The first is that you're going to know how to do all of this on your own, alright, yourself. I think that's really important. When I did some research online for other services people were offering to migrate blogs, I saw that most services cost around $100 to $200 to even $300 to move blogs, which is ridiculous. Alright. The second point I was going to make is that we're not going to do any coding or use any complex or crazy technology. It's all become pretty easy if you know what to use, and I've tried to pick out the most convenient and the most user-friendly processes to go through. Alright, the third point I'm going to make is that this is actually a really good move to migrate to WordPress. I had a lot of fear and trepidation about it, but now that I blog on WordPress, I realize it's probably the best decision I ever made in my blogging career. Alright, so let's go check it out. Let's do it. Alright, let's go back to Blogger, and then I want to look at the posts. Alright, we're going to look at the posts on Honest College. And I'm just gonna grab one of the popular posts to show you a post that migrated successfully. I mean, these all migrated, but some of them were more important to me than others, as I bet is the case on your blog. So I'll just search in Blogger, and this was my most popular post back when I was using Blogger. Alright, so we can open it. Alright, still here, okay. So the point I actually wanted to make from our introduction was that all of your content doesn't really disappear. And when you move from Blogger to WordPress, it still is stored in Google and it still lives on Blogger. So I was really worried that if something went wrong that I wouldn't be able to go back to my Blogger, and you know, if I messed up then the world would just end. But you can always go back and revert back to your old blogging on Blogger if you want. Alright? So we should probably look at the post like this. Alright, this was the post. It was just a top 10 most failed college courses, and organic chemistry was one of the ones to top the list right here. Alright, so let's go back and see what happens when we view this post. So I'm just going to click back to our list of posts at Blogger and click view, and now keep your eye again on the URL bar up here. Alright, so we can click view, and now the page has moved to a new address. Alright, so it takes us right here to WordPress. Alright, to the WordPress blog. So that's kind of interesting. It actually took us through a page right there. Took us through a little redirection page when we first did it. If we click through that twice, it won't take us to that page. So that's kind of interesting. Good to note that all the social statistics are still here. 110 likes, 29 tweets, 1+1. I obviously wanted to keep that. And this is the post. Alright, you can see everything moved over, which I was obviously really happy for. And I was really happy because this post was really good in Google. Alright, so Google was one of my biggest traffic sources, and let's see what happens if we look up that post in Google. Alright, so I'm just gonna go to Google right here, and I'm just gonna look up most failed college courses. I was obviously writing a lot on college. I just graduated from college. And here's the post in Google. Alright, the Google rankings are really good. It's number 2, and I actually have a tag right here that looks kind of ugly, but that's at the top. Right, so I'm ahead of some other good sites like Huffington Post and some other ones. Alright, so let's click through and see what one of our users would see in search. Just gonna click it, and then we can see it takes us right to the post without that little intermediate page saying this blog has been moved or anything silly like that. So that is what your users will see in Google when they start looking at your new blog. And to prove to you that this is WordPress, I'm going to do a quick login and show you a little behind the scenes of what your new blog will look like when we're done moving. Alright, WordPress dashboard is right here. Okay, if we click on the little WordPress icon, we can see what software we're running, which is the 4.0 version. And I'm probably outdating myself by saying that if you're watching this in the future, but the process should remain the same. And this is the new WordPress. It's pretty neat. We have our navigation over here on the left, which is kind of like Blogger. Alright, if you're used to clicking over on the left. It's the same format over here, except for you get some more options, like you can write a new post or add some media or a page up here, and you get this appearance area, which is really fun. Alright, appearance is where you can change your themes and your templates and really just do whatever you want in terms of how your blog is designed. So that's really fun. Alright, I'm going to close out of WordPress and then go right back to where we started on Blogger. And we're approaching time to move blogs. Alright, so these are my 5 Blogger blogs again. I'm very proud of them. And this is actually my mom's blog right here, which she asked me to move from Blogger to WordPress. Alright, so this is it. Hi Mom. Now we can close that. And now let's look at the blog that we're actually going to be moving together step by step from Blogspot to WordPress. It is called Blogger to WordPress Migration, rather appropriately. And it's really simple. Let's just view it right now. It is obviously still on Blogspot. Alright, and it's on a Blogspot domain. But I'm going to show you how to migrate whether you're on a custom domain on Blogger or on this subdomain with the Blogspot. So this blog has 3 posts. Alright, and at the top is a list of everything we're going to be doing. So I'm going to show you how to back up your blog. Alright, save it, how to get a new domain name and hosting. Hosting is self-hosting, and you might have thought it was scary, but it's really not. I'll show you how to do it really easily. We're going to install WordPress, and then we're going to redirect things with nameservers, which is one step you will have to take if you use a custom domain. So if you don't have this in your domain, you're going to have to do something called redirecting nameservers or swapping them, which I'll show you. We're going to import Blogger right from WordPress, all of our posts. Then we're going to design the heck out of it and make a logo, and then do a lot of other little things to make things complete and perfect. Alright, so these other 2 posts are just to show how things are going to move around. This post is popular, it has 3 likes, so we're going to want to keep those likes when we move to WordPress. And this post has a long title. Alright, so Blogger has this weird habit of capping your post titles at, I believe, 39 characters, and WordPress doesn't do that naturally. So we're going to see how to keep this post exactly as it is, even though it has a long title, which can be good for SEO. Alright, so that's the blog we're going to be moving. Alright, I think now we should talk about the cost of everything before we move, alright, because the cost is really important, and it might be the most important issue of all. To do that, I'm just going to open our list here. We can just kind of walk through the cost together right here in our list of to-dos. Alright, so the cost is going to come in the form of domain name and hosting. Alright, so what's that going to cost us? Okay, so your domain name is going to cost $13 per year. That's $13. It's an annual cost, and it's pretty standard. You know, all of my blogging friends pay this. Millions of people around the world pay this, and it's just a standard cost. Alright, for a domain name. Alright, now hosting is going to cost us about $7 per month, okay? And hosting is one of those things where if you register for longer than a month, like a whole year, you can actually get that cost down to about $4, alright, per month, per year. If you did want to register a whole year up front, you would pay a lower per month cost. But we're just going to try it out for 1 month, alright? So you can just get a feel for it and set up WordPress, and yeah, I think 1 month is going to be good for us. Okay. Alright, and I'm actually going to show you in that 1 month how to get the hosting for 1 cent. So it's a really cool deal. I'm able to offer it through this tutorial. Alright, but we are going to get hosting for 1 cent. Okay, 1 cent. So the total we're going to pay is actually only total we pay equals $13. Alright, that's how much we're going to pay today for our new WordPress site. We're going to pay $13 for the domain name, and we're going to get hosting for 1 cent. So there's really low risk. You know, it's going to be a good learning process, and so this whole process is really low risk. We're not going to break your bank, and you can go and brag to everyone when you're done that you got a complete WordPress blog really cheap, and it's going to look really professional. Alright, and if you are someone who owns a domain already, then you're going to know how to do it. I'm going to show you how to move that domain to WordPress, and the cool thing for you is you're going to be paying next to nothing. Alright, because we're going to get that hosting for 1 cent. So speaking of hosting, let's hop over to the host now that we're going to use in this tutorial for our self-hosted WordPress. Alright, maybe take one more look at this list. I will actually update the post, and alright, updated. Alright, let's go check out our host. So to do that, we are going to type in www.hostgator.com. HostGator.com. Alright, so I've used a bunch of different web hosts in my career now and tried setting up domain names and self-hosted WordPress with them, and a lot of other hosts were just confusing. I would go through the steps and wasn't sure if I had missed something or if I was on the right track or not, and then they wouldn't really help out when I was done, which was frustrating. I really like HostGator because everything is laid out really clearly. I always know what I'm doing when I'm in their back end or in my control panel. They offer a 45-day money-back guarantee if things don't work out for you, and they offer a bunch of other nice features too, like $100 towards AdWords, and of course the basics like disk space and bandwidth and all those techie terms. So we're gonna go with HostGator here. You should go ahead and familiarize yourself, click around a little bit, see what it's all about. HostGator also has people here that will help, people that will actually just sit there and talk through whatever issue it is you have. If you have any problems getting set up, you can just ask them whatever you want, or you can ask me right here in the comments at this tutorial. Alright, so I'm a big fan of HostGator. I'm obviously recommending them, and I kind of consider them like a Google of web hosting. Alright, they really help out a lot of people. Alright, and additionally, if you are going to go with a different web host, that's fine. I hope the steps here will still help. I think they will, and yeah, just let me know if you have any questions or concerns on web hosting. Okay, so to get started with HostGator and set up our self-hosted blog, we're just going to click on web hosting, alright, in the upper left corner. And I should note that we'll have an option whether you have your own domain name or you need a new domain name. And also, we're just leaving our Blogger blog as it is right now. Alright, we're not changing the Blogger blog yet. We're going to start by setting up the domain and hosting, and then we're going to transfer. Alright, so that's just how it works, and it makes sure that your blog never goes down, and the readers really don't see any changes until you're ready for them to see those changes. Alright, so I want to pick one of the plans here at HostGator. They have 3 plans. One for businesses, which is the most expensive and robust. One for babies, which I actually use now because I like having unlimited domains. Alright. And then they have this one, which is the most introductory plan. It's the cheapest one. It's good if you have a single domain name. Okay, so your Pride and Joy Blogger blog can move here. And we're going to choose this one just because it's the cheapest one. But I think either of these two are good options. Alright, and these are all just some nerdy terms, disk space, bandwidth, but you have unlimited, so no need to worry about that. Plenty of space and plenty of resources. So we can choose monthly. We're going to choose 1 month of hosting. I do recommend 1 year also. That's actually what I did when I first signed up coming from Blogger. But for this tutorial, we're just going to pick 1 month. And then we can click Order Now. Alright, so I'm going to register a new domain name in the HostGator order wizard. This is step 2 of setting up hosting. Alright, and for a domain name, I'm just going to put in the exact domain name of the Blogger blog that we're moving. Except for I'm not going to put in this part, of course. So it's going to be blogger2wordpressmigration.com. And I hope it's available. I checked it about a month ago and it was. So cool. Our domain name is available. And I want the .com. Alright, so if you had a domain name already, maybe you are using a custom domain name on Blogger, or you just bought one just to have in your back pocket, then you just click right here. Alright, and I'll show you what to do. But you just click there, and you don't buy a domain name, of course, if that's the case, if you already own one. And then you will set up your hosting, and you're going to set up WordPress, and then you're going to move things over to the domain. Alright, so just to reiterate that, if you already own a domain name, just check this, leave this part blank, and then continue on and get the hosting, and then get WordPress, which I'll show you how to do. And then once you install WordPress onto the hosting, then we're actually going to log into where your domain lives, and we're going to adjust the settings so that it points to this WordPress. That's what it's called. Alright, so this is going to be the case for a lot of people. I think a lot of bloggers will get a custom domain name before they'll actually go ahead and move to their own self-hosting and use WordPress. So again, your users aren't going to see the WordPress. They're still going to see Blogger, but you're going to have this account that's linked to the domain name. Alright, and that's going to come in handy when you actually migrate. It's kind of like if you are building a new home. Maybe you have a home that you've lived in for a while and you tell some builders to go build a new home in a new neighborhood. When someone goes to their address book to come visit you, the address is still going to say the original home. Alright, so they're just going to call you up and be like, hey man, I'm coming over, and they're going to come to your original home when they visit your address, just like someone visits a domain name and sees your blog or your blog. Alright, if you're with me. When you're ready, you're going to go ahead and update the address book. Alright, and then when someone wants to come visit you, they're going to go into the address book and look at the address, and they're going to go to your new home in the new neighborhood, and then they're going to have a lot of fun at your new home. Alright, but we're going to be doing the building in the new neighborhood, alright, and we're going to leave your original home intact. Okay, and the address in the address book will not change until we want it to. Alright, and that's really important. And I'll show you how that all works in a second, okay? But we're just going to register a new domain name for now. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so this is all pretty simple. Just make sure you have a hatchling plan and you're doing it for 1 month, if that is in fact what you want. And then you'll enter your username and security PIN and billing information. You can pay via credit card or via PayPal. Alright, 2 good options. And then keep going down, and I recommend unchecking the additions, the hosting add-ons, because those will just increase your cost and you don't really need them for your site to run perfectly. And then we get to the bottom, okay? So this is our order total, 2001, alright? And that's using the Snappy coupon, which is just a little bonus from HostGator, and it gives you 20% off the hosting. So there's 2 things to look at here. There's the hosting cost and there's the domain cost. And then these 2 green numbers actually combine to make this black number right here. This black number. Okay. If you added up these gray numbers, they would make this black number right here. Right here. Okay. So I'm going to give you a coupon you can use right here to save more money, alright? And that's coffee money, alright? This is a verified HostGator coupon, and you can use it when you sign up. So keep your eye on this discount right here. It's going to go up, alright? And I'm just going to click the validate button. So that's pretty cool. It lets us save a lot more, and it most importantly makes the hosting 1 cent. Alright, and you even get a 45-day money back guarantee on that if you want a refund on that cent, which is pretty cool. Okay, this coupon is my coupon, alright, and I am a registered affiliate with HostGator. So if you do use the coupon and sign up, I will earn a small commission from them at no cost to you, just for recommending the services, and I really appreciate that. If you do use it, it will help you save a greater amount, and it helps me keep making these videos and keeping them free in the meanwhile. So thank you, much appreciated, and thank you HostGator for allowing us to save on our new sign up. Alright, so like I said in the intro, the cost is going to be $13. It's actually a little bit less than $13, and this is our domain cost. Alright, very standard, that's not going to change. Alright, and our hosting cost, and that's really all there is to look at. We don't even have to look at these 2 numbers anymore because it's just $12.96. Pretty cool. If on the other hand you registered for 1 year, if you're getting hosting for 1 year, which is again what I did when I first moved from Blogger to WordPress, then go ahead and try this coupon. Got another one for you, which is take 30 off, and you'll also have to click validate. Alright, so that discount is a 30% off coupon. It's 30% off, and if you're registering for a long period of time, then 30% off the hosting total is going to be more impactful than that little coffee money discount that we saw. Alright, so it's going to make a bigger difference. The coffee money discount is actually just this much. Alright, so once you've made sure that all your information is entered correctly, I want you to double check your email, because HostGator is going to email us in the next step, and that's going to help us log into the control panel and set up WordPress. So that's all really easy, but it becomes pretty not easy if you mess up your email. So just scroll up and make sure you got your email right. And then I'm just going to verify, I'm just going to put these 2 HostGator verified coupons up for you so you know what they are. Alright. And then just take a look at the numbers here, make sure things look good. So we're getting our hosting package for about as much as maybe a trip to the movies. So that's really cool. Make sure the numbers look good. And now we can just click create account. Alright, we're going to get this, close this page right here. We're going to get this confirmation page saying that things worked, which makes me really happy. And then in a second we can go check our email. Alright, I'm going to check our email inbox. So now it's going to be time to set up the WordPress blog, the wordpress.org self-hosted blog. And we're going to do that so that when we do transfer from Blogger, that our readers have something to look at. We can't just transfer the blog and transfer it to, the middle of nowhere. There has to be something on the other end for people to read and for the new posts to all upload into. So like I said, we're going to hop over to our inbox, and here I am in my Gmail. Alright, and looks like I got a new subscriber. Hey Tina, that's awesome. Alright, it's all through Aweber. Aweber's a great subscriber software, but this is the email you want to find. Alright, hostgator.com, your account info. So might take 5 to 10 minutes for that email to come through, but when it does, we can just open it up and then we're going to install WordPress. Alright, before we do that, I want to go back to the blog that we're moving just to show you that everything is still here, nothing has changed, because we are building the WordPress blog in a different location than where this one lives. Alright, this one's still living on Blogger, and we're building that WordPress blog over on HostGator, alright, on our new hosting package. We can even look at our checklist here and see that we've done number 2. We've got our domain name and hosting taken care of. We paid for it. We paid just under $13 for it, which is a great deal. And now we're going to do number 4. But it'd also be a good time to do number 1. So let's go ahead and back up our Blogger blog just in case you're worried that things might get a little crazy, even though they won't. So to back up the Blogger blog, we are going to go to settings. Alright, and then we're going to go to other. And when we're in other, we can just come up here and click export blog. And then we can click the orange download blog. So now you are able to upload this blog into another blogspot should things go wrong. It looks like it's done. It's down here in the XML file, so I'm going to close this. And along those same lines, I'm going to back up the template. So that's really important, especially if you've been customizing. Maybe you added some custom code into your template. Alright, and you're going to want to back it up. Okay, so we're going to just copy the whole thing, come over here, and then we can just do Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to open up a text file, just paste it in there, and then save it. I'm just going to call it Blogger template. Alright, just save it just like that. So now that template is backed up. Okay. And now we're going to go back to template, and that's great. I'm also going to back up the classic version. So I'm just going to go to revert to classic templates, and then I'm going to go to revert. Okay. That gives us a slightly different HTML file, which would dictate how our blog looked on the classic template. And I'm going to back up that. Alright. And save it. And just call it whatever you want. And we can save it. Okay. So let's go back to our current look. And we're in business. Alright. So now that our blog is fully backed up, we have actually gone through all 3 steps here. We've backed up our blog, we've got our domain name and our hosting from HostGator, and we've paid for it and gotten our good deal on that. Alright, we got our hosting for 1 penny and our domain name for about $12.95. Alright, paid about 13 bucks. And now it's time to do number 4. So let's go to our email and let's open up that your account info email from HostGator. Alright, great. This is really important information. It will tell you how to log into the cPanel, as it's called, and you never want to delete it. So just keep that in mind. If you're someone who deletes emails, do not delete this email. Note to self. Alright, next step to install WordPress onto our hosting is to go ahead and copy this password. This is our username for HostGator, and we're going to click on this link right here. Alright, and if you did visit the domain, alright, it would just look something like this, which is perfect. This is just what we want. This is the HostGator getting started landing page. Alright, and obviously if you had selected I already own this domain name before, then you know, this would just take you to your blog instead. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and click on the control panel link, and then we can log in. And we'll just get this out of the way quickly. We'll get our WordPress blog set up, and then we'll just move on to the migration part, which is going to be the, you know, the bulk of this tutorial. Alright, welcome to the HostGator control panel. There is a lot of neat features here. HostGator gives us all a lot for free. You can set up email accounts, you know, like a custom email where it would be like your name at yourwebsite.com instead of at Gmail or Yahoo or something. And you get all sorts of neat SEO tools and security additions. Your security is going to be really good on this new website, or self-hosted blog rather. But for now, we're just going to find this little clock icon, quick install, and we can just click that. Alright, quick install is HostGator's one-click WordPress installer. In the olden days, you had to know code and PHP and databases to install WordPress, and that's kind of what scared some people away. But nowadays, HostGator has this nice tool, and thankfully a lot of other hosts are figuring it out as well and catching up. Alright, so we're just going to click on WordPress, and then we can click on continue. Okay, just click on continue. Alright, and then go ahead and just fill out the information. Just follow along with me on your computer. We're going to leave this one blank right here, and then we're going to just put in our email. Alright, so what was my email? Blog to WordPress at honestcollege.com, just a custom email. And then we're just going to call the blog, you know, migration blog. Start a username. This will be your WordPress user, so put a little thought into it. I like first initial last name, and then this stuff is all pretty basic. Alright, so once that's in there, once you're sure that this is right and you have your domain name selected, alright, you probably are only going to have one option here, so that's fine. You can enable auto upgrades, that's good too. And make sure you are installing WordPress and not one of these other CMSs, although you get a lot of options if you did want to try out something like Mambo or maybe Drupal 6 or Hotaru, but we're sticking with WordPress. So now that that's set, we can click install now. And HostGator just used their quick install to install WordPress on our domain name. Alright? That's awesome, and that's going to work the same whether or not you are registering a domain name now, or if you already owned it. You know, this is just getting installed on your HostGator server, so nothing's going to look different on the blog yet until we actually hit the quote-unquote migrate button. Alright, so WordPress was installed. Just going to refresh the blog to show you that nothing changes yet. Alright, people can still read the blog and enjoy it just as they always have. Alright, quick install tells us congratulations, so you can give yourself a pat on the back, and we now have a login link to our new WordPress.org blog and this login information, which was also emailed to us. Alright, so let's check our email to make sure we got that. I'll hop over here, and there it is. It's just going to be called your new WordPress from no reply. And this, just like that HostGator email, this is going to be the information to log into WordPress. Alright, so we can just close this page. Really good work installing WordPress. You are almost there to the blogging point. And I'm sorry this is taking so long, but it is just kind of a hands-on and extensive process. Alright, so we're going to close this page and then go back to our checklist at the Blogger blog. Alright, so we've completed 1, 2, 3, and 4 now. And then we have this little part, swap name servers and other small things. Alright, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do some housekeeping, small things to make sure the transition goes as smooth as possible. Alright, that's our goal, to have a smooth transition. Most of you are going to fall into one of 3 categories, and I'll explain them right now. So either you had a blog just like the one we're moving on a .blogspot, alright? This is going to be really simple for you because you can actually just log into WordPress right now. You can just click this link and go ahead and log in with the username and password right here, alright? And you can do that because this WordPress site exists on this domain, alright, that we just bought. So there's nothing else on here right now. This is a different domain, alright? And the situation really comes down to domain names right now. If, on the other hand, you were blogging on your own custom domain on Blogger, maybe you bought it from Google a while back, maybe you bought your domain name through the Blogger service that went through Google, alright, then you need to do one more step called swapping name servers right now. And that is so when people visit the domain name, your custom domain name, they start seeing WordPress and not Blogger. Alright? So if you remember our 2 houses analogy from before, where you're blogging on Blogger and this is one house in your old neighborhood, and then you start building a house in a new neighborhood, what we're going to do with the name servers is we're basically going to change your address in the address book. So when people want to visit you, they start seeing your new home. In other words, your new site, your WordPress blog. Alright. So before we do that, I want to write a post on this blog. So I'm just going to go to new post, something we're very familiar with, and I'm going to write a post called We're Moving. Alright, and in this post I'm going to say something like, I never thought I'd say this, but we're moving the blog from Blogger to WordPress. And then I'll say, if things look a bit different around here, you're on WordPress. Alright, thanks for being an awesome reader. More great content soon. Alright, just to let readers know that we're moving. You can publish this kind of post whenever you want, but this is basically what I wrote when I moved, and you want to write this so that you don't confuse and you don't lose any readers. Alright, we want to keep 100% of your readers. So I'm just going to publish this. Alright, and then view blog. Okay, now that our moving announcement is up, we can proceed to swap name servers. Alright, in most cases, people will have registered their domain name. If you're using a custom domain name on Blogger, it's usually registered with GoDaddy. So to change the name servers and to start directing people to our new WordPress blog, we have to log into GoDaddy. Alright, so I'm just going to sign into GoDaddy. It's possible your domain was registered with someone else, and it's going to be probably the most difficult for long-time Blogger users because Blogger switched their service to not allowing domains to be registered through Blogger. So if you're someone who registered before that switch, then you're going to have to go through Blogger to get maybe the password to GoDaddy or to wherever your domain is registered. But once you get that, this will all be exactly what you want to do. Okay, so to swap your name servers, we're going to go into our domains panel. So we can click launch on domains. And again, this will make sure that when people visit your custom domain, they start seeing WordPress and not Blogger. And it will take 72 hours to update entirely. It'll take 72 hours. So basically, and I know this is a little intense, you're basically on the clock once you make this switch. And we're going to want to import all of our posts over to WordPress and make it look, as good and as homey as possible. Alright, so I have a lot of domains, but hypothetically, alright, we want to make the change. So I'm just going to do it for CanCats right here. So to set the name servers, you would just open it up. You want to make sure you have the right domain, of course, and then right here in name servers, we can click manage the name servers. Alright, and then we can click custom and then enter custom name servers. And then once this window pops up, we want to go back to our email, okay, and we want to get that HostGator your account info message, and then you can just paste in these two name servers. So it's ns8365.hostgator.com and ns8366. Alright, so that'd be like ns and ns8366.hostgator.com, and you want to make sure you type these in correctly, of course. We'll double check that those are right. Alright, ns8365 and ns8366. Perfect. So once you do that, once you put in the information that HostGator gave you and you click OK, I'm not going to do this now because I don't want CanCats to be going anywhere. But once you do that, then people on the web are going to slowly start seeing your new WordPress site. So whereas the custom domain like this was taking them to Blogger, it'll start taking them to WordPress. Alright, and that's just because the web operates under DNS settings, which are basically the addresses and where they point. Alright, so just like a phone book has addresses, and when you visit an address you go and see the proper house that should be there, DNS settings and DNS records, which I'm sure you'll learn more about, tell the internet browser where to go. So we are changing DNS records by doing this. Alright, I hope that makes sense. Definitely post a comment if you have any questions on this part. Alright. Alright, once you do that, it's going to be time to go back to Blogger. Alright. So if you're someone with a custom domain name, alright, then you're going to have to do a couple things in Blogger before we can import the posts from Blogger to WordPress. First off, you have to go to settings, alright, and then under publishing right here, you have to make sure the .blogspot is in there. So you're just going to have to edit this and then make sure that it goes to your .blogspot address, alright, and then save it. So if you're using a custom domain, you have to revert back to the .blogspot domain before moving blogs. Alright, if we don't do that, there's going to be some problems with the migration and it won't happen as smoothly as we want. Alright, so once you do that, then you're going to have to go to privacy, alright, privacy, and we're going to click edit. And then we have to make sure that the search engines cannot find our blog because we don't want to be listed for duplicate content, alright, once we move the content from Blogger to WordPress. So we can just click no right there, and then we can save changes just like that. And don't worry, if you ever want to go back, this will all still be here, and you can always just reset these settings to have them back how you wanted. Alright, let's view the blog. Okay, so the blog is still here, it's still looking fine. If you were on a custom domain and you move those name servers, you'll probably still see your Blogger blog just because the name servers take up to 72 hours to update. Alright, up to 72 hours. It's usually quicker, especially if you're in an area that's very dense with a lot of computers and your server is updating really quickly. If you're out in the jungle or maybe in the desert, then it's going to take probably the full 72 hours for you. Alright, so at this point, we've backed up our blog, we've gotten our domain and hosting, we've paid for it, we've installed WordPress, and we've swapped name servers. Alright, so it's time to do a few other small things before we can export Blogger, import Blogger, get our posts and all of our content over to WordPress and actually do the migration, which should be fun. There's a few other small things we have to do in WordPress. Okay, so let's go and do those right now. Alright, so let's do our WordPress housekeeping stuff and get this ready for transition. And again, I'm sorry this is taking so long. Alright, here it is. This is your new dashboard for your WordPress blog. There's all kinds of options on how to customize the site or write your first blog post or add an about page or anything like that, which we'll get to. Let's check out how we look right now. We can just click on this upper left corner button. Alright, this is going to be the button to view your site. So you can do either one of these. Alright, so this is the new WordPress blog. It's the 2014 template. Alright, so there's nothing to look at right here. It's really powerful and it's WordPress, but we're going to make it look impressive right now. Alright, so let's go back to our dashboard. We can just click right here. And then I want to get rid of the stock post and page. Alright, so WordPress comes with one post. We can just trash it. Don't want that. And it comes with a page, I believe. Alright, we can just trash our sample page by clicking trash and really clean up this place so we can move in our Blogger content. Alright, next up I want you to go to settings down here. Just follow along on your computer and go to settings, and we're going to go to general. Alright, so in general settings you can change the site title and the tagline, alright, which we're going to want to change at some point. But right now I want to make sure we have a www. Alright, so just put in www on both of these, on the WordPress address and the site address. Make sure they look exactly the same, and then we can save changes. Alright, and it's going to ask us to log in one more time. Alright, so now our housekeeping issues are done. Enough beating around the bush, and it is time to just move the posts from our Blogger blog to WordPress. We also set the name servers of your custom domain to point at the new WordPress blog. So that means we want to act quickly and move our content over so that everyone can find it. Alright, so to start the official migration, we're going to go to Tools over in our WordPress dashboard, Tools, and then we can just click on Import. So even though we backed up our Blogger blog into an XML file, that's just for the sake of security and for our own peace of mind. We're actually going to get all the posts through this little internal system right here. So once we're here, we can click on Blogger, and this is the Blogger importer that WordPress offers. It is the recommended way to import posts from Blogger to WordPress. And I'm just going to click Install Now over here, so we can just click the Install Now button. Alright, and then we can click Activate Plugin and Run Importer. And then you could read this if you want. Howdy, this importer allows you to import posts and comments from your Blogger account into your WordPress site, which is exactly what we want. Alright, we have a Google account. And then we need to authorize WordPress. Alright, so we're going to be sent through an authorization page. Let's click Authorize. Alright, and then WordPress is requesting permission to manage our Blogger account. That's fine. This is exactly what we want. Alright, we want to be able to connect the two accounts and basically create a link between them. We do trust this application, so we can allow access. And once we click on that, we'll be taken back to WordPress. Here we are in WordPress. Alright, this is the one we want. We're at the top, and you'll likely have more content, more posts than 4 and more comments than 2 over here, and then also images and links you'll have. So Just this is the process, and it will take a little bit longer depending on how much content you have. So let's click on the import and get this started. Alright, importing posts. That went pretty quickly. 2 images came through, which is great. It said a 0 before, but then it found 2 of them, so it pulled over 2 of our Blogger images. And then once that is done, we can click set authors. So you might need to click the import button actually a few times if it pauses, or if you get one of those loading symbols that sits there for too long. Feel free to just click import multiple times. So we are going to set authors. There's one author here, and that's me, and I'm going to tell WordPress that those posts are mine and I am the author. You could also add users if you'd like. Alright, so now this is complete. Congratulations. We have now migrated the posts and the images and the comments from Blogger to WordPress. We could actually go ahead and do any of these things now, whichever one looks the most appealing, and I'm going to actually review posts. So I'm just going to click this link, and there we have it. All of our content from the Blogger blog was successfully moved to WordPress. So let's check it out. Alright, so this is pretty exciting. Our content is here. Everything from our long posts, long titles, to beach bumming, and our checklist that we used before. Alright, and then our moving announcement. So if we looked at our checklist, we could see we are now complete through number 6. Alright, we've done all of these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now it is time to make sure our WordPress posts look exactly like our Blogger posts, or as much as we can, to preserve our SEO and our Google rankings, and also to preserve our social statistics. So you could actually do any number of fun things now, like change the whole theme, the design, or write some new posts, or make a menu. But I want to focus on the individual blog posts now. I want to focus on your content. I'm going to open up our checklist, and we can see the link up here looks a little bit different than it did at Blogger. Alright, so let's see how it looked on Blogger. So let's open up these 2 posts side by side. And our goal right now is to make this link look exactly like this link up here. Alright, so you'll notice the HTML is different, and the date is different. So we got to make those 2 look the same in order for the redirection to work, and for a bunch of other things to work also, like the SEO and the social. Alright, let's go to our dashboard, and now it's time to adjust the permalinks. Okay, so we're going to go to settings, permalinks, and once you do that, alright, just go down to custom structure. We can just click custom structure, and then I have it written out for you right here. You want to put this exact writing with the backslashes and the percentage signs and all this. Put this exactly in this blank down here, like we're about to do. So if I paste that in, save changes, then if we go to that post, we can see that now this link looks exactly like this link. Alright, so that's great. We can actually do ourselves one better, alright, because some of the Blogger posts are going to have longer titles, and WordPress is going to put a few more words in them than Blogger did with their 39 character limit. So like this one, for example, won't be the same as this post over here. You'll notice that Blogger cuts off some of the title up in the URL bar, and WordPress doesn't, and we want those to match up exactly. So the fix for that is a little bit random, but I was fortunate enough to find it, and we're now going to use a plugin. Alright, so you want to go to this site. It's called justinsomnia.org. I'll make sure to give you this link in the comments of the video. and then we can scroll down, and I want to download the plugin. Alright, so in step 2 here, I just want to click this link. Alright, once we do that, we can go back over to our dashboard, and we're going to pull in our very first plugin. Alright, we're going to install a plugin. So just hover on plugins and then go to add new. Alright, and this is going to help our links look exactly the same from Blogger to WordPress, which again is good for SEO and it's good for social. Alright, because companies like Google and Facebook store all kinds of data within our links. Alright, let's click on upload plugin, and then we can choose a file, and I'm just gonna sort of type in the title of it. Alright, There She Blows, and now I'm just gonna click install now. Alright, we have installed our first plugin. We can activate it, and that's really cool. It's now over here in plugins. These are where all your plugins live. Alright, so the Blogger importer is a plugin. I guess that was our first one technically, so this was our second plugin in our new blog. And they're both active, so that's great. While I'm here, I'm also going to activate the spam protector. Alright, protect our blog from spam. I'm going to activate this one, just a nice plugin by the founder of WordPress, Matt Mullenweg. Okay, our plugins are looking good. Generally, you want all these to be blue. You want this blue line to be straight down. And if you're not using any of these plugins, you can just delete them. Alright, we need to do one more step for those permalinks. Go to Tools, and then once we're in Tools, we can click Maintain Blogger Permalinks. And then we just want to click on this button. Basically, it just updated those 2 posts to the exact structure that they were on Blogger. Alright, so we don't have very much content, so it's pretty easy. Again, that might take longer for you with more content, but let's go and check out this post. And thankfully now the link structure is exactly like it was on Blogger. Alright, so that's pretty cool, and we're looking a lot better. Alright, here's what we want to do now, guys. We want to redirect Blogger, the Blogger blog, like the homepage and all the posts, to our new WordPress site. Alright, so we want to set up the redirect. This is one of the last steps in migration, although once we do this, I'm going to show you how to change the design and get some social back in action as well, some social stats. So, to set up the redirect, we have to go back over to WordPress. We're going to make use of another plugin, so we can go to plugins and then add new. Alright, so we want to look for what's called Blogger 301 redirect, and I think we can just install it right from our dashboard. Just gonna click enter to search. Alright, here it is. This is a very popular plugin. It is the recommended way to redirect your Blogger blog so that people can seamlessly click on posts, on old links, on maybe your old guest posts, or on links in Google, like we looked at in the introduction to this video, and can get to your new blog seamlessly without any sort of problem and with one-on-one mapping. Alright, 22,000 downloads, great plugin. We are gonna click install now and then click OK. And then activate plugin. Alright, there it is right here. So it's all set, but it's not really working yet. So to make it work, we have to go to settings and then Blogger 301 redirect. So just click on that Blogger 301 redirect, the blue link. Alright, and then there are 3 criteria before we can run this. Alright, so we already did number 2, we changed the permalink settings. We already did number 3, we already imported our posts using this this internal importer, which is great. It's exactly what we did. We should also change the time zone. I'm not sure this matters, but you know, we'll just follow the directions. So to change the time zone, we go to settings, general. Alright, and then I'm just gonna choose UTC -5, which is New York time, and save our options. Okay, so this makes sure that when you publish a post or something like that, it makes sure that things look as they should. Alright, the time is what it should be, which is helpful. Alright, and now we want to actually get this plugin working. So let's go back to the Blogger 301 redirect settings, and we are going to check this, and this. Alright, so we're going to check those 4 boxes and then save changes. Alright, and then it looks like there are 2 methods, and we're going to use the classic template method. Alright, so I'm just going to copy everything in this box. Alright, just copy it up, and then we will go to Blogger, go back to Blogger. So we're almost done now. We're going to go back to Blogger, go to the design, and then from our design panel we are gonna make sure we're on the classic template. So we're gonna revert to classic. We can just click that link, and then I want to check out our HTML. Alright, so if you remember before, we already backed up this template. Alright, we already have it in our files, which is really helpful right here. So make sure you save a copy of that HTML before you do anything here. Once you do that, we're going to highlight this whole thing and paste in the redirect code. Just paste it in. And then we're going to click Save Template. Alright, so I think that should do it. That looks pretty good. There's some other interesting settings in here that you're going to want to take a look at when you have some spare time. And maybe you'll even want to donate to this plugin. I don't know. Up to you. It is free to use. So now let's look at our posts, and I'm just going to try to test one out to see if this did in fact work. And we'll cross our fingers. Might as well do our checklist because we've looked at that so much. And ta-da! Great. So the redirect is working. I'm really happy about that. It is seamless and one-on-one mapping, with our links being the same as they were on Blogger, you know, minus that .blogspot. And this is perfect. So people can now get to our new blog easily and conveniently. And yeah, things are working just fine. Try out a couple more posts just to make sure they're all working. That's great. That is just lovely. Just peachy. Okay. If you ever did want to revert back, you have the backup of your Blogger template. So if you wanted to keep people on Blogger, you would just basically reverse the change we just made in our HTML template. Alright everyone, that brings us to the end of our Blogger to WordPress migration tutorial. I want to say congratulations on successfully moving your Blogspot blog and all of its content over to WordPress. Welcome to WordPress. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you can navigate it well, and I hope you do really well and can blog for a career if you want, or can blog for a huge audience, or can just have things however it is you want them. I want to remind you to please hit the like button, please post a comment to say hello, and if you can, if you know anyone who's going to move blogs, go ahead and send them this link via email. It really takes a couple seconds, and it helps me out a ton. Alright. Now, where I could go out and go outside, maybe play some more ping pong or go get a snack right now, I thought I would actually stick around. If you want to stick around too, you know, now that we're both still here, I thought I'd stick around and help you out with a few little tricks on WordPress. Alright, so first off, we're going to install a new theme, and we're going to change our look, because as awesome as this is, and as cool as the 2014 theme is, it is what countless other bloggers who just set up a blog are going to be using. Alright, and we want to stand out. So if we go back to our dashboard, we can go to Appearance, and then we can go to Themes, That's pretty cool. We can go to themes, and then within themes we have the 3 standard themes, but we can also add thousands more. So we can just click on add new. Alright, and then I'm gonna browse, and there are lots of good themes you want to look for. You might want to search a word like photography, something like that. You'll get the themes that WordPress has for photography. Most of them are free. You could search for e-commerce, and then you could browse some beautiful e-commerce themes that could make your new blog into an e-commerce website. Alright, you could look for something like maybe fitness, alright, personal trainer, or health, and you get the picture. We could really do this all day. However, I have a theme in mind that I want to show you, and it's called Simple Catch. So I'm just gonna hit enter. Alright, there is Simple Catch, and I'm gonna show you Simple Catch right now because I think it's one of the coolest but not well known themes on WordPress, and I'll show you why in a second. So to set it up, we can just click the install button right here, and then we can activate, and now our site will instantly start looking different. Just gonna open it up in a new tab, and we can see we got a total makeover. Alright, so here are our posts, and the site looks a lot different right away, and so that's pretty cool. The reason I like Simple Catch so much is because it displays your content on the home page with these little rich snippets right here. So each one of these little snippets displays the author and the date of publishing and the comments. Alright, and I think when readers show up on your blog, they should see your content right away. They should know how many articles you've written, what your topics are, what your titles are, and that's going to help you grow your blog, because really content is king, as they say. Alright, but there's even more. So if we open up a post now, we can go ahead and edit post, and I'm going to show you how to turn the comments on. Alright, by opening our screen options panel and selecting comments and discussion. Those have to be selected, and then you can just check allow comments. Okay, and then we're also going to learn how to put an image on the post. So just doing that would make it so we have comments. Alright, someone can now comment just by clicking here, and they'll get taken right to the comment section, and then all your comments will display in a count right here, your comment total. Alright, back to the home page. If we want to put an image in, like these images right here that are actually just linked to Blogger, so you might want to get rid of those or change those. To put an image there, you can set up a featured image just by clicking there, and then you can just choose one of these or upload an image from your computer. Like we could upload, one of the images I have. Maybe we'll go for this image of a breakfast room. Everyone likes breakfast. And then when you click set featured image, it will populate right here, and then you can update the post. Alright, so now when we refresh our home page, we'll have a nice, pretty, perfectly aligned image right there next to our post snippet. So again, pretty cool. Just another little trick within WordPress. Alright, gonna show you a couple more things now to customize WordPress, and the next one would be a page. Alright, so if we want to add a page which is different than a post, the posts are going to show up here on the home page, but pages are going to show up somewhere else. So let's just add a new page. You can bring up this drop down menu, click page, and then we can just add a new page. So maybe this is our about page. Alright, and we're just going to publish this page. And let's do one more by clicking right here. And this one is a contact page. Alright. Obviously you can make whatever pages you want, and then you can put in cool stuff on the page, like images or contact forms or videos or whatever you want. We're just going to publish that page. And now let's see what happened. Alright, so the pages come in right here in our navigation menu. Alright. Most WordPress themes are going to have a navigation menu that sits right here. Maybe it'll be above the logo. Not sure. Alright. But that is where that will sit. Alright. If you wanted to edit the menu, I'll show you how to do that. You can go back to your dashboard and go to Appearance and then Menus. Alright, so WordPress actually makes you create a menu. And we're just going to call this main nav, and then we're going to create it. And we can see by default it has helped us out by putting in these page tabs, which we can open up and rename. Alright, we can just rename them, something like that, or you can reorder them. You can change the order of a page. That's pretty cool. If you indent them, you can create a drop-down menu, or even a multi-level drop-down menu. But this looks good right here. And then we can make sure the menu is in one of your locations, otherwise it won't show up. And then just save it. Alright, so by doing that, we have controlled what shows up right here, which will help your readers navigate your content. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Last but not least, I want to show you how to put a logo in. And looks like our logo is already there because I put it up a moment ago just to test it out. So I'm going to hit the delete cache button, and it's still not going to change. So we're just going to look at how to change that logo. Alright, if you want to change your logo, you go to Theme Options. Alright, and then in Theme Options you can go to Logo Options, and then you can just change whatever is right here. So let's say we want a completely different logo. You can go over to the website called dryicons.com. Pretty neat stuff here, pretty advanced. I definitely didn't find out about this site until about 2 or 3 years into my blogging. And then once we're on Dry Icons, we can search for something really cool, like maybe coffee. I'm a big fan of a cup of coffee every morning. Get the day going. And within coffee we can look at the different icons. Alright, so we could download this, but we could also just look at a set. And when you look at the set, you get all these other beautiful logos. They could talk about your site in different ways. Really cool stuff. It's just a fun way to design the site. And I'm just going to go with this photo right here. Alright, I'm just going to go with this one. Okay, and we can download this right to our computer by clicking the red download button. Alright, this is a free icon, but what the site asks you to do is put a link to this page or this site when you use the icon. Alright, just put a little backlink somewhere and give it a little bit of credit. So that's pretty easy. Once we do that, we're just going to unzip the logo, and then we're going to upload it to the site. Alright, we can upload it right here by clicking Change Header Logo, and then I'm just going to select it. Alright, there it is. I want the PNGs, and I want the biggest PNG, big photo. Alright, cool. So the final step to put your logo in is to insert into post. Just click right there. Make sure to click that button and then click save, of course. And now we're going to refresh and see that we have a beautiful custom logo right here that really speaks volumes about our new blog. Alright? Really adds a nice little punch, a little pop. Alright everyone, I want to say thanks again for watching, because this has been a real pleasure to make this video for you. I hope that made the migration process a lot more easy to understand and a lot more enjoyable. And I would love it if you posted a comment. You could even drop the link to your new blog and we could all go and check it out and make fun of you. Just kidding. And I'd love it if you hit the like button, and if you know anyone who needs to move blogs, go ahead and send this video to them. It'd be a big help. Alright, thanks so much again. I'll see you next time.
I'm the ping pong champion.